Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Kyle Henderson, BamaInsider.com. Alabama moves to 8-0 on the season, beating Arkansas 48-7. Students are enjoying their homecoming. Alabama fans are enjoying the 8th victory of the season by the Crimson Tide. Today on the show, I'm going to talk about the stats. I'm going to pipe in Nick Saban's press conference, going to explain Nick Saban's press conference. Also, we'll hear from Mack Jones and Terrell Lewis, and then you can, of course, catch my call-in show tonight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Let's start out with the play of Mack Jones. 18 of 22 on the evening, 235 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Longest pass was from 47 yards out. Connected with Jerry Jeudy 7 times, 103 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Waddle had 5 receptions, 39 yards. Devontae Smith, 4 receptions, 67 yards. Henry Ruggs, 4 receptions, 47 yards. 1 touchdown reception early in the first quarter. Rushing-wise for the Crimson Tide, Najee Harris, 13 rushes, 86 yards. Brian Robinson, 13 carries, 70 yards. And Najee Harris had 2 touchdowns. When we look at the stats overall, we see that Alabama had a total of 459 yards of offense, had 38 rushes for 179 yards passing-wise. They had 280 yards passing. I mean, it was a big night by the Crimson Tide. Here's what Nick Saban had to say during his opening remarks following their victory over Arkansas.
Well, I was really pleased with the way we came out and played, especially in the first half. Mack did a really good job of executing the offense. He was very efficient and effective in the passing game. Did a nice job on third down, kept a lot of drives going. I think we had 4 turnovers or whatever on defense in the second half, which led to 24 points, which was, really good. Thought the guys played hard and competed hard in the game. And, we could have finished the game a little better in the second half, but had the opportunity to play a lot of players. Got a lot of experience, with some of those players. And I think that's probably the most important thing, for our team right now. So, this was a game that, if we'd take any rat poison, we wouldn't have been focused on this game at all based on everybody else in the community and the media and, the fans and the questions I get asked on a radio show and, Nick at noon. I mean, I get asked about the next game when we had this game. And I was really pleased with the way our players stayed focused on what they had to do in this game so that we could improve as a team. I'm sure there's things that we will see in the film that we could do better, but I think our guys competed hard in the game, they played hard in the game, and took care of business the way we wanted to.
I think one of the biggest takeaways for me personally after watching Alabama defeat Arkansas 48-7 was the fact that, just like Nick Saban said, Alabama knew that they were the big favorite coming in. That's, if they would have taken the rat poison, who knows what could have happened. We've seen it again and again every single week with the college football power go down, from Georgia to Oklahoma, who lost to TCU today. Now, I'm not sure if those teams are taking the rat poison, reading the headlines, but this Alabama Crimson Tide team continues to stay dialed in weekly, and I think that's something that starts up top from Nick Saban. Now, this team came out and completely dominated Arkansas from the get-go. I thought Mack Jones looked fantastic from the very start. And I talked about this on BamaInsider.com. Mack Jones knows the offense. Mack Jones has been here for 3 seasons. The team has a lot of confidence in Mack Jones. And let's listen to Mack Jones after Alabama's victory. Here's what Mack Jones had to say. Again, Mack Jones, 18 of 22 passing, 235 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Not bad, and we'll just keep working.
Mack, any nerves?
A little bit, but that's part of the game, and I felt really prepared, and we were prepared, so it's football. I've been playing since I was 5, and everybody around me has been playing since they were 5, so no big deal.
What's this week like for you?
2 early turnovers to make 3-0, 17-0 pretty quick.
Yeah, that's the great thing about football. It's a team sport, so the defense is going to step up and make plays, and we got to make plays too, so we work together.
Looked like you were having fun out there, too. Looked like you were really enjoying the moment.
Yeah. Might as well make it fun. Like, that's why we play sports, It's fun, and, you love the game, so.
Talk about the pass protection you got from the O-line.
It was really good today. I think I, missed a couple of reads that I wish I had back, but they did really good. I think I only got hit like 1 time, so, they held it down like they always do, and props to those guys as always.
I think overall, when you look at Mack Jones as a quarterback, there were a lot of question marks about his ability coming in. A lot of people were skeptical to see if he's just a game manager. And I'm sure there's still a lot of people out there that really want to see what he can do against a higher caliber opponent. I'm sure there's a lot of people wondering, can Mack Jones lead Alabama's offense past LSU here in a couple weeks? Should Tua Tagovailoa not be ready to go against the biggest opponent Alabama has faced this season? But I think tonight what we learned from Mack Jones' performance overall is that he's capable of delivering a good ball. He's capable of running this offense. He had a lot of confidence, and I think just like Nick Saban said, when Mack Jones just focuses on his game plan, he's a very dangerous quarterback. And there was a couple times tonight where he overthrew some of his wide receivers, but there were some times where he really stayed focused in the pocket, stepped up, made the big play. I thought that throw that he hit to Jerry Jeudy was a fantastic throw, right on the money, and that's probably around the time where he really felt settled in. I thought it was an excellent just an excellent job from Mack Jones. Let's continue with Nick Saban's press conference.
You know, from an injury standpoint, Najee just barely twisted his ankle. He's fine. Could have went back and played in the game. We just didn't put him back in the game. Smitty has a bruised shoulder. He'd probably be out for, a few days, but should be fine. Shaheem Carter went out with a little knee sprain. He'll be fine. I don't think we have anybody that's significantly enough hurt. Cajo has a fractured hand, which will be fixed, and he'll be able to play in a cast. Tua is doing really, really well. He's on the Ultra G already, running on the Ultra G. We expect him to return to practice by midweek, this week. I don't know what he'll be able to do or how much, but, that's sort of the prognosis for where we are right now. So.
A lot of injuries following this game, but it seems like a lot of these injuries were minor. I know a lot of people were curious about Devontae Smith. Saban explained bruised shoulder. A lot of people were curious about Najee Harris. Looks like it's a minor ankle injury, and these nagging injuries or these minor injuries could not have probably come at a better time with Alabama having this open week so these guys can get treatment before the big one with LSU. But I think the biggest takeaway from what Nick Saban just said right there was the fact that Tua Tagovailoa is making progress. We've seen story after story after story come out that Tua's out of the boot. Tua is making great progress, and I'm not surprised by it. I mean, you're looking at an athlete, a super athlete that, was well trained at the highest level, and Alabama has the facilities and the know-how to get him up to speed. So I think that's a great update. Next week, to see Tua back inside the practice facility, working with the team, starting to get some mobility on that ankle, I think that is gigantic news. That's a huge takeaway, and I think Alabama Crimson Tide fans can really breathe and take be relieved in the fact that Tua Tagovailoa is going to be back. Now, that's not to say that Mack Jones can't step up and lead this offense, but LSU, I mean, who watched that game against Auburn today? LSU was a quality opponent. The best team that Alabama has played by far will be LSU, and we can talk about that game more and more now that game is just on the horizon. But I think Alabama needs to be 100%. I think these guys need to get the treatment and get ready because LSU is coming. I mean, this is the game of the year so far in college football. Alabama number 1, LSU number 2. We continue with Nick Saban.
So, anyway, all in all, good team win.
Just following up with a couple injuries, do you have an update on Evan Neal and Landon Dickerson? Like both of those guys left the game.
Yeah, Evan's got a little bit of a growing strain. Probably could have kept playing with it. We took him out. Evan Neal, got hit on the knee. Should be fine. Probably could have played. Just took him out.
Come back over here on the left with Michael. Those first few drives, how important was it getting the running game going? It looked like that was a pretty big focus early on.
Well, I think that the challenge for our team was, and I challenged all the players on offense, that, first of all, Mack, you got to be the commander-in-chief here. You got to run the offense. You got to be the leader. You're not a sparring partner anymore, so that's up to you. And everybody else on offense needs to play well around them. so that, you know, it's going to be an easier game for him so he can just focus on what he has to do to execute the basics. I thought we did a pretty good job of that, and our ability to create balance, run the ball effectively, and we threw it effectively as well, and just had, you know, a couple occasions where we had, you know, some pressure in the pocket, but for the most part we were able to execute and throw the ball, and, you know, it led to a lot of third down conversions, which kept a lot of drives alive.
I thought the running game tonight was fantastic, especially in the opening segment of the game. I'm sure a lot of people felt that Alabama would just go ground heavy, and I think they did that in the beginning of the game really just to build offensive momentum. And I thought Najee Harris played fantastic during that first half. Before his minor ankle injury, I thought he ran hard. I thought he cut up the field well. I thought the offensive line did a great job holding their blocks. And then I felt when Brian Robinson came in, he did a great job as well. He had that longest run. It was 37 yards. I felt on that play when Brian Robinson broke out, I thought it could have been a touchdown. He kind of like hesitated and wanted to kind of four-wheel drive and power pass the defender, but I think he could have had the speed to get to the end zone. But either way, Alabama's running game looked great tonight. 38 rushes for 179 yards, and Najee Harris gets in the end zone twice. He hasn't scored too many touchdowns this season, so it was good to see Najee Harris get in the end zone. I think it gives him more confidence. He's been an excellent back this year, and we talked about it on my show. We've talked it before. His ability to catch the football out of the backfield and make defenders miss is something that really sets him apart. I think Brian Robinson has those abilities as well, but those are two of the best running backs in college football playing at a very high level. So really happy to see the running game and how they have been improving weekly. Let's hear from Terrell Lewis, who had a big night. Check this out. This is a mind-blowing stat. He didn't have any sacks tonight, but guess how many hurries he had on the quarterback? 6 hurries on the quarterback. Let's hear from Terrell Lewis.
They owe me a thank you letter, though.
A thank you letter or what?
Yeah, thank you letter. A lot of them picks and all that stuff. Shane Lee, too. But we played good as a defense, so it kind of worked out both ways. They covered long enough, and we got pressure. So
you mentioned after the last game that was something when Tua went down, you wanted, as a defense, you wanted to step up. Is that focus today?
Yeah, we definitely wanted to send a message just as far as, you know what I'm saying. Me personally, I wanted a shutout, so I'm kind of still a little frustrated on that. I know penalties kind of caused us to not get a shutout, but we still built off of the momentum we had last week. We're just going to keep trying to climb.
Can you see a quarterback start to get rattled when you're always in the backfield?
Yeah, I start to sense how he kind of being alert to, you know what I'm saying, where am I at, or, you know what I'm saying, he'll kind of stop looking downfield and kind of peek at his line, stuff like that. You can see that, you know what I'm saying, in the game.
Does that bring you, is it good for you? Do you like seeing that?
Oh, yeah, I let him know about it.
How do you do that?
I know he feel my presence, so.
How do you let him know?
I tell him exactly what I told you.
Terrell,
I think the biggest difference maker, besides Tua Tagovailoa and his health coming back for this LSU game, as we start to look for Alabama and LSU going forward, I think the biggest difference maker will be the play of Terrell Lewis. I think him getting to Joe Burrow will make all the difference in the world. And the way that he's playing right now, he's probably playing at the highest level out of any outside linebacker in college football. You're talking about a guy who is literally throwing offensive linemen to the side. He's got a great spin move. He's getting to the quarterback. 6 hurries tonight. Getting pressure on the quarterback will be pivotal as Alabama takes on LSU. I think Terrell Lewis is the key component when Alabama takes on LSU, along with the health of Tua Tagovailoa. Let's continue with Nick Saban's press conference.
Stay on the side with Brett.
Didn't see much of Jared Baden tonight. What's his status, and what do you think of Daniel Wright in that spot?
He was. We could have played him in an emergency. He has a pulled groin as well. Not bad. He was able to practice some this week. You know, we felt comfortable playing with the guys that we were going to play and not make them worse. So, you know, we're hopeful in a couple days that he'll be just fine.
Back to the right there. Based on how you teach it in assignments, how would you kind of assess the way that your corners have played this season, Trevon and Patrick?
I think pretty well. You know, I think we put those guys in bump and run a lot. They have a tough job out there a lot of times on some pretty good skill players, and other than a couple pass interference calls, I think that they've done a pretty good job for the most part. And if we can keep them playing the ball, I think that'll be good as well. But we're also going to play against some really good, challenging guys in the future, and it's going to require them to be at the top of their game.
I think this is another interesting point when you look at the Alabama cornerbacks. Trayvon Diggs and Patrick Surtain are two bigger cornerbacks, and I think they match up well with LSU's wide receivers. And we'll break all this down throughout the next couple weeks as we start to look at individual matchups. But tonight I thought the corners played well. Patrick Surtain, as we talked about, has been somewhat in a midseason slump. Tonight he got an interception. And then Trayvon Diggs, my goodness, talk about playing opportunistic football. Last week he had the 100-yard fumble return. Tonight he gets another pick six. So the guy seems to be in the right place at the right time. Trayvon Diggs, certainly the best corner that Alabama has, and he's really playing through the roof. I want to read a couple more defensive stats. I thought this was great tonight. Shane Lee and Christian Harris led the team in tackles tonight. Both had 6 tackles. Shane Lee had 1 sack, and then as you saw, Christian Harris had that fumble recovery, which he returned 37 yards. Anthony Jennings had 4 tackles, and Terrell Lewis had 3 tackles. So look at that right there. The inside linebackers lead the team in tackles, and then the outside linebackers are right behind them. You're talking about Alabama's linebackers leading the team in tackles. That's what you want, along with the defensive linemen getting up there. Raekwon Davis had 3 tackles, and then DJ Dell was in there a couple times. He plugs up the middle of the field. I thought he did great. And then tonight we saw a lot of Christian Barmore on third down situations, which I thought was excellent. When we look at the Pro Football Focus grades, during my show, and we'll start to look at the snap counts as well, because I did see a lot more Christian Barmore. We continue with Nick Saban's press conference.
What did you see out of Terrell Lewis tonight in his game?
What
did you see out of Terrell Lewis and how he played?
Terrell's played really well. I thought he pressured the passer a couple times and did a good job of playing his position. And when we have him and Anthony out there, I think it really helps our edges, helps our pass rush. I never know until I watch the film for sure, but I thought he had a pretty good night.
We'll finish up with Tony.
How did you see Mack progress throughout the game? It seems like you started with some short pop passes, and then he was able to kind of air it out later on in the game.
Well, I think it's always the plan with your quarterback. If you can give him some easy completions early in the game, it's always helpful confidence-wise. But we do that even with Tua when he plays. But we weren't afraid to throw the ball down the field, and we weren't afraid to do anything that we normally would do with Mack. And I thought he did a really good job in the game and played within himself and made really good decisions. One time he could have thrown the ball in the flat down in the red zone, and he tried to hit Jerry in the corner of the end zone and overthrew it. But, like I say, there's always something. We're always trying to be perfect. We never can be. But somewhere along the way, we want to get to excellent, and we're still working on that part.
So, again, Nick Saban talking about his redshirt sophomore quarterback, Mack Jones, and how he handled his first start in his career. Thought he did great. Again, he was 18 for 22 passing, 235 yards, 3 touchdown passes. What did you guys think of Talia Tagovailoa? He came in later in the game. He was 6 of 8 passing, 45 yards. I think one of the biggest plays for me, biggest takeaways watching Talia out there was the fact when he extended the play, he kind of cut back right, then cut back left, threw it out to Brian Robinson. Want to know what you thought about the quarterbacks in the comment box. I would like to get your feedback on the play of Mack Jones and Talia Tagovailoa. I asked the premium subscribers on BamaInsider.com this. Do you feel if Tua Tagovailoa is not 100% healthy, if he cannot play against LSU, do you think Mack Jones has the talent to beat LSU? I want to hear from you in the comment box as well. It's interesting. It's something to think about, right? Tua is making progress. It looks like he's going to be back by midweek starting to practice. Saban has been very positive, but we still haven't seen him on the field just yet. So maybe that's a question we should start asking towards the later part of next week, but just wanted to get it out there. Talia Tagovailoa gets in tonight, though. This was the 3rd game he's played this season, played against Duke, played against Southern Miss, and then plays tonight against Arkansas as Alabama beats Arkansas 48-7. It was a dominating performance by the Crimson Tide. Crimson Tide now 8-0, and they will go forward and have a bye week before their November 9th meeting with the LSU Tigers. Be sure and catch my call-in show tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Time. I hope to hear from you. The call-in number 205-686-3604. Let's break down Mack Jones against Arkansas. Let's talk about the college football playoff picture. Big loss by Oklahoma. The week before, it was Wisconsin. So another one bites the dust as we continue to move forward in the college football season. Reporting to you from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, this is Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com.